John was working in his science lab, got blasted by gamma rays. Now he's Smash Trivia John, always smashing. He's friends with Ruffalo, crushing on Maslany, and also Sydney Sweeney. John's here saying, hello my gamma friends, welcome to the show, the Gamma Analysis Podcast.
Smash.
Hello, my Gamma friends. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Smash Trivia John. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or TikTok, and Instagram by searching Smash Trivia. I'll be the one with the big old green head in the profile picture. This is the Gamma Analysis. Basically, I'm going to review everything Hulk, all the movies, the TV shows, and I also do other random geeky films and occasionally not so geeky ones as well. Hope you enjoy. Smash Trivia presents the Gamma Analysis. I want to ask everyone listening if they please do sign for me. Please share the hell out of this podcast with all your friends. If you don't, Hulk will be angry. Now, let's smash right into this episode. Today, I'm going to review the She-Hulk episode of Fantastic Four: World's Greatest Heroes, titled The Cure. And I'm doing that with my friend Ben from Twitter. How you doing, Ben?
Oh, yeah, hello. Yeah, where you popped up, I was like, hey, if you want to do some, She-Hulk stuff, you need somebody as a guest, and you were like, oh, I'm not doing She-Hulk, and I'm like, yo, any point, man.
Yeah. Sorry, but what do you think of this episode of the episode and I guess how they portrayed She-Hulk in this episode?
I will confess, before this, I hadn't seen this show, so, I watched it, and, it's so early 2000s, like, it's very, like, the art style is even reminiscent of, like, your X-Men Evolution and stuff, like, it's very, and I guess for what we got for She-Hulk, it was pretty good. Fun fact, she is voiced by the voice of Twilight Sparkle and I think Sunset Summer from My Little Pony. My niece insisted I share this information because she was walking through as I was watching it, and she turned back to the TV and she was like, is that Twilight Sparkle? Just when like Jen was doing like the She-Hulk transformation, and I'm like, I don't know. You want me to? And she looks it up on her own, and she's like, yeah, that's Twilight Sparkle, and I'm like, okay, I'll tell people.
Nice. Okay. Oh, well. I have only watched one other episode of this Fantastic Four show before, or that being the Hulk episode, because I did a review of that as well on my podcast. But yeah,
because they refer to the Hulk like they've dealt with the Hulk before in this episode. So yeah I was.
It's an earlier episode in the season called Hard Knocks. Ox has the Hulk appear. I did really like how they had She-Hulk in this episode. My only criticism I would say of it is I don't like that they had her appear because Ben is not the Thing in this episode because I want to see a She-Hulk and the Thing interact.
Yeah, I think for like having like I think that would have been a good setup for like later down the line. I think this really like does, to me, it does a decent, if you want another power person in there, and especially if you're doing like a cartoon, you kind of have to take the original power person out so that the new one has something to do. Which would be my complaint with the show, is like, you had a She-Hulk and you didn't let her smash enough. Like, you kind of underutilized your new tank, guys.
I think I agree that there wasn't enough, but I think when they did have her like smashed up, like like when she broke through the ground near the end to get them out of that lava thing that got
Oh yeah,
that
yeah, when she's just
growth.
punching up
That
through
was
Sue
I thought that was
Storms.
really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
The
Well,
and I also think they nailed her personality
oh
in it.
yeah, they absolutely nailed her personality. It was down to like the whole she spent the whole time just giving Johnny shit. Just
Yeah.
the whole time. Did not let him get away with a single thing. And
Oh
that
yeah.
is like that is so She-Hulk.
Hmm. And I really like how at the end and she tells them the reason she's not gonna continue being a part of the Fantastic Four is because of the fact that they are a family. Yeah, I thought that was a really cool touch, and I think
Yeah, it
uh,
it shows how like mentally and emotionally observant Jen is
yeah,
as you know.
and I think it's cool because not every adaptation of the Fantastic Four has really done great in the aspect of trying to make them feel like family. Uh, I love how this cartoon they do really feel like they are a family.
Yeah, and that was a big thing in like the early, especially the early 2000s Marvel cartoons is that like they were a family. It's a
Hmm.
theme. The early 2000s movies for the Fantastic Four only botched it in that they were more of a
Well,
dysfunctional
I
family than they were
I
like
I like the early 2000s ones on I was more referring to like the 2015 version
I
and
I have not seen that
yeah,
version, so
that's probably a good thing. And also the unreleased 1990s version.
oh
It's
yeah, I have caught that. Yeah. Yeah.
so which like oh the 1990s one that on that's unreleased. It's not actually terrible. There are stuff I like in it, but the dynamic is not one of the things that I like in it. Like
No.
because
That was a bit of
mainly
a mess.
mainly I don't like it because of the relationship between Reed and Sue.
Yeah.
It's a very weird relationship in that film.
It's a little creepy.
But
Yeah,
I,
that one I have seen. It's been a little while, but I do remember doing
mhm,
that at like a midnight. My buddy who worked at a theater and we did it
it's
as like a midnight watch party thing.
interesting. That would be cool seeing that on the big screen. Though I imagine I like when I've watched it. I because of the fact that I knew it was gonna be really bad quality because it was signing uploaded on the YouTube.
Yep.
I watched it on my phone, so it was the smallest screen possible, so they could look the best. I imagine on the big screen, it looks really bad.
It was very unfinished. It was like that pilot episode of Wonder Woman that was released unfinished. It was worse than that because there were just so many effects that were not
Well,
complete.
I mean just simply like it being like really blurry on screen.
Oh yeah, that too. Like it
Like
it
it's
it
yeah.
that actually kind of helped with the thing effects, if you want to
Oh
be
yeah,
honest. Like
definitely.
the blurriness did give it a little bit of like an avant-garde thing there. So
The worst effects though in the film, I think, are definitely Johnny's his fire powers.
yep. Yeah, they really should have
Those
used
were
those
bad.
more sparingly than they did.
He was literally animated.
Right? Oh,
Oh man. I think
but
for
yeah.
this episode of the Fantastic Four, there's not a lot to talk about with this. But
Yeah, and Johnny's design overall, again, it's early 2000. Why is he spiky? Why? He looks like a broken off icicle. It's just some of the
oh
designs were weird. I didn't
yeah.
like that Reed Richards never unstretched his torso. Like he was constantly walking around as like a fucking slinky. It's like,
Oh man.
you know
I
that
can understand
retracts, right? Like,
that. uh, yeah, I definitely understand that like that. Um, I really loved particularly when I like Johnny's like on a plane. He's like, "Oh, I'll be your hero" to She-Hulk, and then she ends up having to save him. That was
right?
great.
He's like, my arm was good. And she's like, oh,
Yeah.
princess.
Yeah, and Johnny is like at one moment he's like, I think we should forget about the world saving part and just save me. Yeah, I was thinking to myself, nah, I don't care about you.
Right? Not you can. I think they turned up Johnny's twerpness because that was a thing they did in the early 2000s. So they made him a good deal like twerpier, if you get what I mean. That
Yeah,
was the impression I got, that he was basically there to like
like it
be
was
the annoying little brother.
like like you can't make like you can't think that I'm gonna care about you if you're literally rooting for Ben to get exploded earlier in the
Right?
episode.
Right? Because if he gets exploded, I get his stuff. Yeah, come on, dude.
Like that was not the time to have jokes like that. Oh man. Um, I thought it was a pretty good fight. Both like when they were they were fighting Moleman's
Yeah,
minions, and
I
then when they actually fought him.
yeah, I wasn't so thrilled with how they did the story and that they kind of kept jumping around in places
Mm,
of the story. Like
yeah,
they
understandable.
start like in the middle of that fight and then they go flashback to like getting,
Uh,
Ben's whole thing.
yeah, I don't like when shows do that either. So, oh yeah, I definitely understand where you're coming from. Which that I'm pretty sure is just was something for this episode. That's not something like they do in every
Yeah,
episode of the show.
yeah. See, and
Yeah.
I haven't watched the rest of the show, so I can't
Hmm.
say whether or not like it's the show's editing style or
Yeah.
anything. It just
Um, I, I really thought it was a cool touch that having She-Hulk got out of her bonds, but by turning back into Jen. I
yeah.
thought that was cool. Oh, and it was really funny the Moman's line being like, but the thing can't do that.
Right? But the thing can't do that. Yeah, I enjoyed her being able to slip. I especially enjoyed that like it wasn't that she couldn't break the bonds in She-Hulk form. It was just like that was a really bad idea.
Yeah.
Like it
So
wasn't that she wasn't strong enough. It was like, Jen, please don't do that because it's a bad idea. And so she's like, all right, fine, you know what? I'll just think outside the box and slips out and
though I do think it is strange that they actually were able to get her bound up because I would have thought that like
that's
if she did get if she like got knocked out, for
she'd go back
one
to
she would go
Jen,
back to
wouldn't
Gen
she?
mode,
Yeah.
but also
Or
I
no,
don't think that fall would have
I
knocked her out.
I will say that this could be the Diamato version of She-Hulk where she can't. Well, she did turn back into Jen to get out of the bonds, so I can't
Hmm.
even say that. But like, there is a version of She-Hulk that doesn't turn back into Jen when she gets knocked out. But that's because the She-Hulk form is the natural one for her, and the Jen form is the secondary one. That like
Interesting.
she can, but it takes a great deal of
Hmm.
mental effort. I think like it's a comic arc originally where she just can't turn back, and then Emma Frost is like, "Well, I'm getting sick of this, so dink, change back," and she just can't do it naturally anymore.
Another thing I really liked the episode is the other cameos of people trying out to be on the team. Like they got
Yo,
like
yeah,
Squirrel Girl,
Squirrel Girl,
and
and Flatman
Frogman.
made me crack the fuck up.
They
Side
had
Flatman.
uh, they also
Oh
had
yeah, the
Frogman.
leapfrog.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, the
like that was
leapfrog.
cool.
I was like, what? I was like, I could have sworn they made that guy up for the show, but no, there he is.
He's no Frogman. So okay, in the comics, the character's name is Frogman,
Okay.
and his father was called Leapfrog,
Okay.
but they I'm guessing decided in the She-Hulk show that Frogman is not interesting enough name, so they gave him his
It
father's name.
it might have been a well, yeah, because the character's named the same. I knew that.
Mhm.
It might have been like for the show a copyright thing where something else right now is copyrighted
Yeah,
under Frogman.
maybe.
Uh,
Though I would think if anything, there would be copyright problems with the name Leapfrog because I'm
y-
pretty sure there's a brand named Leapfrog. I remember
oh
that from my
yeah,
childhood.
yeah, like the leapfrog learning stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just tripped over one of those the other day because I have small nieces and nephews.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But yeah, I do like that how they set it up with the ending. Like I especially love She-Hulk being like, really, the mole man is your villain and he keeps getting away.
Yeah, that's it. That's such a She-Hulk thing to do, calling out the fact that it's so dumb that they're villains.
Right? And it's right in line with her being like, really, I
Like in
cannot.
a way, like in a show where clearly they were not going to allow her to actually break the fourth wall, all at least you have a little bit of a meta joke in there.
Right? At least you have a little bit of a tapping of, yep, we know this is stupid, but it's what we've got. Like, and
Oh,
I assume the mole man is apparently a regular villain in that thing, given how they all treated it like it was a
maybe
Tuesday.
I have no idea if he's a regular character in this show. I do know he is a regular villain of the Fantastic Four in the comics, though. So,
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
Well, yeah, because the Underminer is based on him.
hmm hmm
Yeah. And of course, the Incredibles are basically just the Fantastic Four as an actual
hmm
family unit.
yeah, definitely. I think.
But yeah, when the lava started, I knew, like, I was like, all right, well, Sue's got everybody else. Like, she doesn't even have to, like, it's gonna do nothing to Jen. We knew that.
Mhm.
Like, it was like just about it. I was expecting her to like swim up from that and be like, you words I can't say because this is a children's cartoon, and just like
Uh,
flatten that dude for covering him and covering her in lava. Like, just the
yeah.
inconvenience of it.
Oh man. Yeah, I love how multiple times in the episode, Ode, Johnny is like, we can replace a Sue as well,
Right? That's
which
why he
I
seems like he's the perennial little brother. Like he's definitely
which
like, oh,
like
let's replace Sue with
I
the hot
like
green
that.
lady.
I like that because of the fact that he is Sue's little brother.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that, it works really well.
It does. And that's like that is such a little brother thing. Oh, there's a hot lady. You can go away, sis. Like
I mean, I agree with him.
I yeah.
I would rather She-Hulk than Sue any day.
I'd take them both if you'd give me them both, but I'm
Yeah.
not going to sneer at Jen. Like, no,
Yeah.
but yeah, I do like the beginning of the episode, and they're fantastic, they're doing their thing, and it's the Fantastic Four Tower, which was a great version of the Fantastic Four Tower. I love the like spinny holographic logo over it. um and then Reed's just like casually like, oh yeah, let's take you apart atom by atom and recopy you like a computer file. And he's like, and everybody's like, wouldn't this be dangerous? And he's like, maybe, but I want to.
Yeah. Then he
So
also is also like I like when Ben's like, so why did you have to do these tests on us in the first place? And he was like, oh, I just wanted to.
I just eyebrow test, eyebrow test. It's like he just wanted to do it.
Yeah.
He's very mad scientist in this show.
Like
and again, they do not
really
show
does
his
work
feet
well.
for like the first 15 minutes. Like he's just a freaking slinky torso roaming around the screen. Like when Ben started to fall when he was human, I fully expected like him to lasso him up in like his torso or something. Like, and that was another, like, that was one of the story problems to me. It's like, this is a dude that is now having a panic attack over the fact that you all have superpowers. Stop using your superpowers for like 5 seconds.
I think that is particularly actually something that we should call out Reed for, or like not. I don't think as much for Johnny and Sue, just because
I mean, Johnny
they
was
were
on
outside.
fire every 5 seconds.
But what I mean is they were outside when he started freaking out, so they don't know at that point that he doesn't have his memories.
Yeah, but before he starts running away, he literally jumps on Johnny and tries to put him out with a blanket and is like, "Oh my god, you're on fire." And he lights himself back on fire and it's like, "Just stop for like 5 seconds, bro." Yeah. But then again, that's Johnny's characterization. Like, he doesn't realize how serious it is yet.
Yeah.
Reed really should have been like, "No, he's actually having a panic attack." But
but the thing is, they sadly in the early 2000s, they didn't take mental health seriously. Yeah, sadly, I thought was a really cool reference for like early Fantastic Four comics is having the original Fantastic Car for Ben to grab
the bathtub. Yeah. I love that. He's like, "I don't have superpowers, and now I gotta fly over there in a bathtub."
Yeah. Oh, it's great.
But that is so true to Ben. Like, he's gonna bitch about it, but he's still gonna do it.
Oh yeah, and he's going to try to help his friends, even if he doesn't have superpowers. Though I do wish we actually had a scene of him trying to fly the Fantastic Car, because I don't think he would just away know how to drive it, because it's not a normal plane.
He is a quote unquote expert pilot.
Yeah.
And we're so inundated with like Tony Stark being able to do everything technology because he wants to. So like, it's not that much of a suspension.
It's not a suspension of disbelief. It's just, I think it would be funny to see.
Oh yeah, just to see him like pitch forward and fall out of the bathtub.
He's just like there's so many buttons. What do these do? They're marked in these weird symbols and stuff. Right. I think that would be really funny.
And you could do like the old ejector seat gag, or have him just pitch forward and fall out of the car.
I can imagine there being like a button that literally has the 4 for Fantastic Four on it, and him just making a joke, be like, "What the hell is that for? That doesn't explain anything. Well, you're just putting your logo on a button doesn't help anything."
Yeah, he's just trying to push the logo button in. Yeah, that would have been a fun little transfer. I do because I don't understand. Herbie told him, didn't he? The Reed Richards was like, "Oh, we've got like 5 seconds, and here comes Ben like flying down in the car."
Oh yeah,
because Mole Man dug a fucking volcano in the middle of the city for whatever reason.
Yeah, well, Mole Man is just angry at the surface world for some reason. I
love how Reed points out, he's like, "Yeah, it's gonna fill your entire area with magma and lava," and like the Mole Man's like, "Oh,
maybe whatever."
Yeah, well, to me it was like "Oh shit, he's right," but I'm already too deep into this moment. Like it was like, fuck, I didn't.
I think it was both. I think it was both him not realizing until that moment, but also him being he just doesn't care actually about his minions.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they're just like,
yeah.
like they do just seem to be infinitely replaceable goo monsters. So I guess if I didn't have to worry about HR with my minions either, right?
Oh man, yeah.
I mean, they were basically like the Titans from Hercules. They were like a goo monster and like a mountain volcano dude. So, and just those two types of things. Like that's
Oh.
there's guys, I think we should worry a lot more about the sentient lava and goo coming up from like whether or not this
Also,
mole dude like
what was the giant hand that came out of the hole?
I think that was a big mole creature. I think it was like an extra
I don't
large
think
mole
we
man.
actually saw that
Yeah,
that thing later.
its head and torso comes up out of the hole for like a little bit, but we never see its legs.
But
It's
like
it's
I
like
would
a
have thought that later
giant.
when they're actually down there, we would have saw that thing and not.
It's too big. It's too
I
big to be
guess
in that space. I guess.
I
I don't
guess,
know.
but it's weird to have that he's
Right.
grabbing things with this giant iron
Eh,
thing, but then doesn't use it to fight them.
right? Like, and that thing definitely could have kept She-Hulk busy for a little while. Like, at least until she got tired of playing with it. Like, you're right.
Oh,
It's just, and it never comes back. But somewhere there is a giant mole creature that's like part crystalline or something, and it's like,
oh.
okay, to me that would be like the bigger thing I didn't want to like leave the mole man with. I'd be like, no, you can't have that for a pet, mole guy.
Oh man. But obviously they're not willing to actually remove anything though can make because then he can't come back and keep
Well, yeah,
be villain to them. And it's
that's
like
the nature of a Saturday morning cartoon.
like part of me likes that because I like the idea of recurring villains, but I think you need to give better reason for why they weren't able to defeat them, why the villain got away, so that
Right? Like
we
as
can have
She-Hulk
that.
points out, like he just gets away. They don't really seem to care. She's like, and he's
Hmm.
getting away, and they're like, it's Tuesday. He'll come back Wednesday. It's fine.
Yeah, but they probably the reason they don't care is none of these villains ever actually kill anyone because it's a Saturday morning cartoon.
Right? Yeah, these guys, they just seem like mild inconveniences, which
Which
I think would be worse. Like,
which which would be actually like a really funny thing for like them to have She-Hulk comment on being they say they into
right?
sign about how
If
the
I don't
rules of of it being a very kid friendly thing make it so that there's no actual stakes.
right, just her being like, "Oh yeah, he's just here for mild annoyance sake." Like,
Oh man,
I assume it only got one season.
yeah, I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
but that would be a great setup for like the
Mhm.
next season for her to come back and be like, "Oh, this guy, I told you we let him get away last time." Like, and the mole man again.
Mhm.
And she's just like, I don't, guys, why? Because he doesn't kill anyone. Well, that's nice.
Mhm. I think that one of the biggest things, like with watching something like this, is that like I makes me feel is like saddened that we no longer have animated shows like this coming out. There are still anime shows coming out, but they're not like just as the Saturday morning sort of thing where you can just expect every week or at least every week for a certain amount of time, and then just like a few
Yeah.
months break before having some more. Or
Yeah,
like
the less serialized, less like big
yeah,
event, just sort of your Saturday morning popcorn shows.
yeah, like there is still some animated Marvel shows coming out that are like that. Like there's a Spidey and his Super Friends and show on
Oh
Disney
yeah,
Channel, I think, but it's
and they've
not the
got
same because that is like very much kiddie
yeah, oh yeah,
sort of thing,
that's
and I'm
like
like,
super
I want more
5 year
stuff like
old.
more stuff like this. Like, I know that a lot of people didn't love the early era of the Avengers Assemble show, along with like Hulk and the Agents of Smash, Ultimate Spider-Man. But I loved that we back 10 years ago when that was happening. We had all the time these cartoons we could watch if we wanted,
Yeah,
and
or
stuff coming out.
something,
But yeah,
something even again like X-Men Evolution or X-Men. Well, at least they've got
hmm
97 now that they're sort of picking up and doing that
yeah,
again. But again, I would really love just a more like Saturday morning, like you said, like just easy to watch, something
yeah.
that you
And like
don't
something
have
like
to.
something like X-Men '97. Well, yeah, it does give off a bit of that tone of the Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah, but
It's
that's only
not the
because
same. It's
right.
not the same in that it is this streaming event show.
Yeah, it
it's not just a part of what we expect to have all the time, and
yeah.
and also unlike something like this that was very serialized.
Yeah. Well, and that's only because they're like aping, they're essentially aping the, 87 cartoon as much as they can.
Hmm
And yeah, you're right. Like we should have a cartoon that like you get like 6, 7 weeks worth of it like at once, and then it's off for like 2 months, and then you get another like
Yeah.
3 months worth. And
And it's and I don't know if we'll ever get back to having a time like that where we have shows like that from Marvel, just
oh
because everything is now under Marvel Studios.
yeah.
Because they've instead of having it that there are different divisions doing things, so they can have one division that is Marvel Animation doing all these things all the time. Now Marvel Animation is just a banner under Marvel Studios, and so
Yep.
so it you have to wait for some of the live action shows to come out before you get another animated show.
Yeah, because they're trying really hard to like, cram it all together and make it all interweave. And it's like sometimes you just don't want that. You just want something that's the one thing and a lot of it. Like,
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, I don't even mind weaving. Just give me a whole bunch of stuff, and like they can be a part of the same universe. Just
just it doesn't like
they don't have to
it's,
cross over all the time. They just
yeah,
reference
yeah.
each other, and
Well, and
we
that's
get a lot of it.
that's how Star Trek did it in the 90s, was that
Yeah,
like yeah, they were all in the same
that's
universe technically, but it stayed away from each other.
that's
And it
how
allowed the independent production, and it wasn't all caught up in other things. And yeah.
That's how it was with Avengers Assemble, Hulk and the Agents Smash, Ultimate Spider-Man, and Guardians of the Galaxy. Those animated shows was 10 years ago. They were part of one universe, and they had characters cross over with each other, but it wasn't like some obligation you had to watch everything. You could just watch one show and you everything would make sense, and they gave us a lot of it. It's also the same thing as how the CW's Arrowverse ran.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and the CW's Arrowverse basically fell apart when they started forcing everything to interlock so much. They were desperately trying to keep up with Marvel, and they
You
oversaturated
guys, I,
themselves
I
too
actually think
fast.
what made them fall apart was them not being able to cross over with each other because of COVID. Because it was the shows all started ending within the in the 2 years after COVID started, and
I
they weren't able to do any crossover at all at that point.
we'll agree to disagree, because I don't
Uh,
I don't think that I'm also not like I liked the Supergirl show, but it had its problems, and Kate Kane being my favorite comic book character, the less said about the Batwoman show around me, the better. I was not did not like that one. Um but yeah, like you're saying, cartoons. Back to at least cartoons.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, but give us a lot of something. Like
Have you seen
mm,
X-Men and the Wolverine? The Wolverine
I've
and the X-Men,
I've
the two
watched some
thousands.
of the episodes. I don't think I've seen everything. Though. It's probably something I'll go back to at some
It's
point.
it's a good one, and it's another one that's a shame that it only got one season.
Mm. Yeah, the late 2000s. I think a lot of Marvel shows were only getting like one season.
Yeah, another one is The Gifted, that was like
Oh yeah,
2000 something into like 2018, and it only got two seasons, and
oh yeah.
again, I hated that.
Like I'm pretty sure like around the same time that Wolverine and the X-Men was happening was I think Spectacular Spider-Man, and I'm pretty sure that only got like one or two seasons as well.
Yeah. Yep.
The with Hulk and the Agents of Smash Ash only got two seasons, and that one really saddened me because I really liked Hulk and the Agents of Smash.
Yeah, sadly they greenlit a lot of animation just as like Marvel, the Marvel Studios itself was being bought out by Disney, and the Disney canned all those animated projects
It's
because yeah, which is weird because a lot of them were airing on Disney in the
weird,
first place. So it
yeah.
was like
Oh, it's such an interesting thing to think about Marvel animation. Um, with particularly with the change of it being its own thing versus it being Marvel Studios, because they did, yeah, as you said, most things it got canceled, and
yep.
so, but then there's one thing that started while Marvel animation was still a thing, and um as its own entity, which was Hitmonkey, and that's still going. And
Wow.
I'm wondering if that is technically Marvel Studios now, or what. Like,
Um
it's interesting because if it is Marvel Studios, that would mean that's the one Marvel Studios show that is not being put on Disney Plus. It's being put on Hulu.
that's that's weird.
Mhm.
I
Have you heard of
so
the
hit
Hitmonkey show?
Marvel Hit Monkey, yep. And I knew that it was on Hulu. I think I've seen like 3 4 episodes of it.
Mhm.
Um I've been vaguely aware of it, but yeah, you're right. It's one of those like,
Yeah,
oh, I think it was a case of like Marvel Studios did it, and then like Hulu bought the rights to it, and so now like they're
hey,
just stuck producing it as long as Hulu wants to fund it.
so what originally was planned was, and this was before the or Marvel Studios took over everything, was um it was either Marvel Animation or it was Marvel TV that produced it was Hitmonkey. They also produced it was Modoc, and they were planning on producing both, I think, a Tigress and Dazzler show and a Howard the Duck show. Oh, and
Yeah.
all four of those were going to eventually cross over together to have a parody of the Defenders, that is the Offenders, all
Yeah.
and then most of it all got canceled except for Hitmonkey and Modoc. Modoc has now ended, but Hitmonkey is still somehow staying around. Um, and I find those so interesting because I'm one because just from the two shows we actually do have of from that lineup of Hitmonkey and Modoc, they are very different animation styles. I don't know how though they would have crossed over in the end for a Offenders show.
Right. Well, I mean, they did do the live action Star Trek and the animated Star Trek got a crossover. So, like, I guess you could
Yeah.
like meet the animation styles in the middle, but I'm not
Well,
sure how
'cause I
complicated
don't.
that would be.
Well, I would think it'd be very complicated because, like, Hitmonkey is traditional animation, while Modoc was stop motion.
Oh wow, yeah, I didn't know that they'd done anything as complicated as stop motion.
Oh yeah, yeah. Modoc was a really interesting experiment for a show. It was a very different feeling show than any like Marvel animated thing that I've ever seen before. Uh, um, I think is there anything else about this She-Hulk episode of Fantastic Four you'd like to mention?
Let's see. I liked the way they got into it, and like the general plot. Like you said, they characterized Jen very well. No, there's not much else to say. I don't think.
Yeah. All right then. I'm end off this episode then.
You're good, man.
Yeah. So
Thank you for having me on. I
yeah.
appreciate it.
So thank you for listening. And if you like this gamma analysis, please give a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or a 5-star rating on Spotify. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the episodes. Please let me know. If you'd like to listen more from me, please subscribe. I have many more gamma analysis from me coming, so keep on the lookout. Which thank you again, Endo Ben, for coming on. I really
Yeah,
appreciate it. This
no
was a
problem,
great
man.
time.
Hey, yeah,
Yeah.
you're a fun guy to talk to.
Yeah, and this again is your host, Smash John, signing off.